couple of weeks ago, the engineers at Shipyard released a new API endpoint that allows you to trigger a fleet run and then send parameters in to kind of modify those at runtime. So those can modify variables that are in our low-code blueprints or in your own code as well. So last week, I created a video and blog post that outlined how you could use that endpoint with a Snowflake and email setup where you could email a query result as a CSV to an email of your choice and kind of change those variables at runtime. So that's one of the more popular use cases of Shipyard. So I wanted to start there, but today I wanted to put out another blog post and a video that talks about something that we're going to use, that we're using the API endpoint for internally, and it's something that we're doing inside of Shipyard that I think could be interesting at your business as well. So at Shipyard, we have a YouTube channel where we discuss use cases, we have tutorials, we talk about topics, those kind of things. Obviously, you're watching this video, so you either saw it on the blog post or are you seeing it on our YouTube channel. So check out those other videos if you're here. I think they can be helpful to get you going inside of Shipyard and show you some use cases of things you might not have known that you could do inside of Shipyard. With that being said, what we wanted to do is we wanted to create captions for our YouTube videos. So YouTube automatically creates captions for you with any video that you post. It uses their own model and transcribes your video. We've seen that that's not that accurate. It doesn't do a great job of transcribing the video, and especially it keeps in ums and things like that. That unfortunately, whenever I make a video, they come out more than they should. But Whisper does a better job of getting rid of those. So we wanted to use Whisper from OpenAI to transcribe our YouTube videos and then upload those captions into YouTube. And wanted this to be an automated process. So basically, we could send in the video ID at runtime, and that's all we'd have to do to make this thing run. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've created that use case. We're going to talk through the build of that use case. And so in this use case, we're going to download a video from YouTube, transcribe it using OpenAI's Whisper, and then upload those captions. And it's all going to be automated so that you won't have to actually log into Shipyard after you create the initial fleet. So let's dive into Shipyard and see what that looks like. So diving into Shipyard here, you can see that I already have this fleet pre-made. So I do have the full YAML for this fleet in the blog post. So if you want to follow along, you can just copy and paste it into a fleet and follow along with us. But I'm just going to talk through vessel by vessel here on what's being built. So you can see that we're starting off with a YouTube blueprint that we have in our library blueprints. So for that, you can see it just takes in the video ID and it takes in a file name there. And we just want the audio since we're just doing a transcription here. You can download the video, but that would just be wasting a bit of time. So once that is completed, it's going to take that file as youtube.webm and it's going to send that to the next vessel, which is transcribing audio with Whisper. So you can see it's taking in that audio file, sending out the transcription as transcription.txt. So whenever we're using the API endpoint, we're not going to change the audio file name or the transcription file name. You definitely could do that. That could be something you could add in, but since it's not really going to affect our fleet at all, what those are called, we're just going to leave those as kind of those generic names that you see there. And then the next vessel is where it gets a little bit more complicated, and this is an actual Python code vessel. So this is uploading the captions to YouTube. Again, all of this code will be in the blog post that you can check out if you want to kind of replicate this for your own business. But what we can see here is, so we have some imports there. You can see there's a lot of them because using Google's API takes a lot of importing. So you can see there's a lot there. We're taking in the video ID as an environment variable, which is a change. So we would usually just hard code that in. But since we put it in as an environment variable, that allows us to set it at runtime. So that's important to note if you're going to change your own code using our, if you're going to change your own scripts, some environment variables in your own scripts, you have to set it as an environment variable, and then you can change that at runtime. So that's just important to note there. You can see we have some variable setting here with some client ID, client secret. We have our authentication method, which we're using a refresh token. Again, I'm not going to get into the weeds of this code on refresh tokens and authentication and all that. This video would be way longer than it's going to be right now. So I'm just going to kind of leave that there. If you have questions about this method, feel free to use our intercom button down here in the bottom right-hand corner of our screen. Send us a message. We'd love to talk to you and try to set this up for your own business as well. So then scrolling down here, once we authenticate, you can see we're going to open up that transcript file from Whisper that we created here. We're going to set it as a octet stream there. And then this is where we're going to set the video ID and the YouTube transcript name. So again, the YouTube transcript name could easily be another field that you could change at runtime if you want to set those to be different things. I have ours set to be Shipyard Official or something to that effect. Shipyard transcription there. So that's what I want every single one of these to pop up as inside of YouTube, and I'll show you what that looks like after we run in just a moment. So then going on down here, you can see we're just going to send that, we're going to execute that request and then get that response back for the run. So that is the fleet setup there. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to pop into Hex and kind of show what this code looks like whenever we run it. So let me scroll down here so you can see here. So again, all of this code again, I know I've said this a few times, all this code that I'm showing is inside of our blog post, so that if you miss something in the video, you can go to the blog post and get the code. So you can see we have this JSON data dictionary that we send the vessel overrides. So we have the vessel name, which is YouTube download video to Shipyard, and that variable is YouTube video ID. That's what I'm going to transcribe this new video that I just posted. It's a pretty good video, I heard. Might want to check that one out too. But it's there as well. So we're going to transcribe that video ID, and that video ID comes from the URL there. So we're going to change that for both the download video from YouTube and the upload captions to YouTube. So we're going to upload it for both. You could potentially just create a variable and put them in for both, but that's there like that. And then down here, this is the request you're going to send to the API. So we have our Shipyard API key hidden as a variable. You'll need to generate one of those inside the application. And then down here for our URL that we're going to send the post to. So you're going to need your organizational ID. We have that in our documentation if you need help finding that. The project and the fleet ID, I've already inputted those in, but you find those up here on the top. So there's the project ID after projects in the URL, and the fleet ID is after fleets in the URL as well. So we have both of those there. We're going to send in the headers that we have here as well as the JSON data that we have here. So I can go ahead and run these three things together. It's going to get that response.txt there. That's going to give us the ID, the run ID, as well as the project ID, so on and so forth there. So it's going to give us, that's going to tell us that it is running. So I should be able to pop back into Shipyard, go to the logs here, and you can see I accidentally ran it twice, but it is running. And so you can see not only that, but in our triggers there, you can see we have an API trigger that's showing versus an on-demand and a trigger that we have inside the application. By clicking the green Run Now button, it's telling us that it is being ran by the API. So I'm not going to talk through this run here. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and I'll pop back in whenever it's done running, just to save some time on this video. But we'll pop back in and show what this looks like inside of YouTube, inside of Shipyard after it's finished running. So jumping back in now that the fleet is finished running, you can see we got a green bar and a red bar on the second run. So if you try to add a transcription with the same name of a transcription you've already added, YouTube's going to throw back an error, as you can see here. So for that, you can see that did finish successfully there. So if I come into YouTube, you can see here inside of this video, if I click on the cog down here for settings, you can see that we have our English Shipyard transcriptions there in the subtitles listed, so you can select that. And then also in YouTube Studio, you can see that we have the English Shipyard transcription modified on today's date as well. So you can see that's added in as well. So in this video, we went over how you can download a video from YouTube, transcribe it using Whisper, and then upload captions into YouTube. And we did this using our new Trigger Fleet Run API endpoint. If you have any questions about this solution or how you can use Shipyard in your organization, use the link in the description to set up a time to chat with our team of data experts. If you want to see more solutions like this one, check out these related videos.